If you're watching on YouTube, shut that down and start the broadcast. Welcome our families and parents for another family engagement broadcast. I introduce to you Principal Ms. Anjum.
Good morning, parents and families. Thank you so much for joining us. We are here to talk about WIDA. This is an important presentation presented by Ms. Ayat Hassan, our coordinator for tutorial ESL and Title III program. Please listen carefully because a lot of our students, they will be taking WIDA assessments this month. And we want to make sure that all parents and families are aware of the requirements and what to expect. Go ahead, Ms. Ayat.
Good morning, Universal parents. As Ms. Anjum said, my name is Ms. Hassan. I'm the coordinator for tutorial ES and Title III programs, and we're going to go over WIDA training. If you have attended the previous WIDA webinar, it is very similar. It's just right now that starting next week, we're going to be having the actual WIDA assessments happening. So welcome you guys, and I'll be answering questions at the end if you guys have any questions. So we're basically going to start off. I'm going to just briefly go over what is WIDA. So it's World Instructional Design and Assessment, an assessment to test our English language learners. So رح احكي بالعربي. هالامتحان التست الولاد بدهم مساعدة باللغة الإنجليزية. وإذا عندكم أي أسئلة رح جاوبكم على الآخر. So the schedule, so elementary students, so WIDA will begin starting next week, February 7th of 2022. For elementary, we're going to be starting on that day. So on that day, your children will be taking the listening and reading domains. And on Tuesday, they'll be taking the writing domain. So جمعة الجاي رح يبلشوا الأولاد بالإلمنتري بالصف الكيندرغاردن للصف الخامس. راح يبلشوا بالدومين هو السماعة والقراءة. واليوم الثلاثاء راح يبلشوا عودة بالكتابة. For the speaking, our ESL teachers will be testing our elementary students, and this will be done by pulling 2 students at a time. بس يعملوا الامتحان الحكي. ال ESL teachers هن رح يكونوا رح ياخدوا الأولاد 2 الأولاد مع بعضهم من الصف. For secondary students, they will be tested starting on Wednesday, February the 9th. And then they're going to be with their classroom teachers. So starting then, each day they're going to be taking a test. So on that Wednesday, they're going to be taking listening. Then on the Thursday, they're going to be taking the reading. And then the following Monday, they're going to be taking the writing. Okay, and that goes to the same thing. Our ACL teachers will be putting 2 students at a time to complete the speaking domain. للولاد الكبار السكندري ستودنت هنا رح يبلشوا يوم الأربعاء. رح يعملوا الامتحان. كل يوم رح يعملوا امتحان غير. بيعملوا للسماعة، عودة للقراءة، عودة للكتابة. Both elementary and secondary students, they're going to be tested with the classroom teachers except for the speaking. So الولاد الelementary secondary رح يعملوا الامتحان مع الأستاذ. بس يعملوا الامتحان الحكي رح يكون مع أستاذ تاني. Before testing. So it is very important. I want to emphasize this, please, parents, that before testing, you guys want to make sure that your students, your children do bring in their Chromebooks and their headsets to school each day. Okay. كتير مهم إنه الأولاد يجيبوا اللابتوب الكمبيوتر معهم والسماعات معهم على المدرسة كل يوم، لأنه لازم يكون عندهم إياها لياخدوا هالامتحان، وهالامتحان للستيت للدولة. The teachers will notify the parents when there's complete. المعلمات بيخبروا للولاد بس يخلصوا الامتحان إنه خلاص ما تجيبوا الكمبيوتر معاكم. So I do emphasize, please, parents, remind them. Miss Anjum will be putting it on Remind. The teachers will be putting on Google Classroom. بس بدي أخبركم إنه Miss Anjum رح تحطها على Remind إنه تذكركم يوم الاثنين، يعني بتذكركم إنه يوم الأربعاء الخميس والجمعة. وكمان إنه المعلومات راح يحطوها على Google Classroom. So please, parents, remind, on Sunday night, just put the Chromebook in their backpacks. That'll be great. During testing, the teachers are going to provide them with instructions. Obviously, we have the admins who are going to be helping the students, and they're going to provide them instructions and a test ticket. And they have completed a test demo, which is basically just a test practice that they have done in the classroom just to see what kind of questions they look like, so they have experience of they're not surprised during testing. So وقت المدرسي كنا ياخدوا الامتحان، مش امتحان الأساسي، هو امتحان بس يفرجوهم كأي أسئلة فيه موجودين ليعرفوا إنه كيف الشكل الامتحان رح يكون. The classroom teacher will be there watching, supporting students. They need bathroom breaks, we'll provide them if there's an emergency. المعلمة رح تكون موجودة معهم بس ياخدوا هالامتحان مثل أي سنة. وإذا بدهم يستعملوا الحمام مش مشكلة أبدا، المهم إنه يخبروا المعلمة ومنخليهم يروحوا. So what is that assessment? So if you see that the assessment is basically broken down to the language of English, language arts, mathematics, science, and social studies, and it tests them with all these types of domains. The WIDA test is divided into kindergarten to 12th grade. الامتحان للكيندرغارتن للصف 12. وعم لكم هون انه الصف الاول فينا يعملوا الامتحان مع بعض، الصف الثاني الثالث فينا نحطهم مع بعض، الرابع الخامس ستة الثامن والتاسع 12. Each grade cluster consists of 4 domains. So parents do be reminded that this is part of 4 domains that they're going to be taking: the listening, reading, writing, and speaking. هالامتحان انه في 4 امتحانات بهالامتحان، هو السماع، الكتابة، القراءة، والحكي. Listening and reading consists of multiple choice. Okay, and then the writing and speaking are made of performance review. So it means like they're going to be writing their responses or typing the responses down. It really depends. In kindergarten, each student is tested one-on-one. So for Miss Arobata and Miss Shafa, they're going to be testing their own students. And usually it takes 45 minutes or less depending on how the student answers the questions. للكيندرغارتن هو رح يكون واحد المعلومات رح ياخد ولد ولا واحد، كل واحد لحال، يمكن تاخد 45 دقيقة أو أقل حسب الجوابات للتلاميذ. الكيندرغارتن ستودنتس انت كتير مهمية انه تساعدوا الولاد انه يجاوبوا ما يلبكوا. It's very important that you encourage your students to take the test seriously and to make sure that they're encouraged to take it. It is okay if they don't know the answer. Let them just at least as they to answer their responses as much as they can. Okay. The whole purpose of this is to allow them to see what can they answer for the English language and then provide them with services and support. So for the listening, it is basically when they actually take it the first time, they're going to hear somebody listen to somebody speak. And then they're going to be responding as multiple choice, responding to a question. You want to remind your children that it only repeats one time, so they want to listen carefully. And then we will ensure that we remind the students as well before the testing begins. And this usually takes around 40 minutes around so. هلا امتحان listening بدكم تأكدوا إنه هن رح يسمعوا حدا يجاوب يحكي معهم وبده يجاوبوا على الأسئلة. واحنا بنذكرهم انه بس رح يحكوا معهم بس مرة، ثم ما في يعني يعيد السؤال تاني مرة، وهيدا رح تاخد شي 40 دقيقة. For the reading, that usually takes around 35 minutes up to 40 minutes. It really depends on the level of the student. And they're just going to hear somebody listen to them, and then they can take it off, and they are expected to read the questions and to answer the questions. So بالقراءة هن بيجاوبوا بيسمعوا حدا عم يحكي عن الانستركشنز، وعودة إنه فيهم هن بدهم يقروا السؤال ويجاوبوا عن السؤال. Based on the listening and reading, once they do the listening and reading, they're placed into tiers. So tier A is basically they're still beginning, and then BC is basically they're still intermediate advanced. So that tells us what level they're going to be taking for the speaking and the writing. بس ياخدوا listening والreading هن بيحطوهم بالمستوى. إذا هن بالA يعني بعدهم بده مساعدة أكتر. إذا BC يعني عم يعملوا شوي أحلى بالقراءة وبالlistening. For the writing, الكتابة, it's going to take 65 minutes around so. We usually do not like to give more than that because they start getting off topic. For 4th to 12th grade students, they're going to be taking the typing. They're going to type the responses. For the grades 1st to 3rd grade, they're going to be taking a paper-based. So they're going to be writing the responses in number 2. اوكي. بالكتابة رح تاخد شي 65 دقيقة شي ساعة. للصف الأول للثالث رح يكتبوا جواباتهم على ورقة. بس بالصف الرابع ل 12 رح يكتبوا بالأونلاين. speaking هي رح تكون ال ESL teachers كان عم بحكي عنهم، إنه ال ESL teachers رح ياخدوا ولدين مع بعض. بس يخلصوا هالولدين عادوا بيروحوا بيجيبوا ولدين تاني وبيعملوا speaking مع بعض. عم نعمل بس ولدين مع بعض كرمال إنه ما تكون مجموعة بس يحكوا على جواباتهم. التاني ما بكون overlapping each other. So for the speaking part, the ESL teachers are going to be pulling 2 students at a time. And this is because we don't want students to record over each other's responses. So that's why we want to be, to be safe, their answers are accurate, than actually having more students, and then it's just going to be loud. You want to make sure for the speaking that before the students actually press record, that they think of the responses, use complete sentences, because once they press record, they're going to be actually, it's going to give them a certain amount of time to record the responses. So it's very important that you remind them, before they start, and obviously we will as well. للحكي بس بدنا نأكد معكم إنه هن رح يحكوا جواباتهم. سو قبل يكبسوا الكبسة لازم يفكروا شو هو جواباتهم، لأنه بس يكبسوها رح يكون وقت معين إنه ليحكوا. For accommodations for any students that are, they're special, identified for special education, getting services for special needs, there is accommodations, and they're going to be testing with the resource teacher. And those for accommodations are provided based on their IEP plans. So أي حدا عنده special education رح عطيناهم هالمساعدة بدهم إياها، ورح يكونوا مع المعلم الريسورس teacher. بس بدنا نذكركم بعد مرة إنه بليز إنه يوم الاثنين خليهم يجيبوا الكروم بوكس ولا هيدفونز، لأنه كتير أهمية إنه بدهم ياخدوا هالامتحان بدهم يجيبوهم، والريزلتس رح ما يجي لجولاي. So إذا كنا أي أسئلة please خبرونا. I was just mentioning that this is a final reminder to please have your students bring their Chromebooks and their headsets. And the results do not come usually until the end of July, around so. So if you have any questions about how the students did, how did they perform, you're more than welcome to let us and to ask us in September, July, anytime, and I'm more than happy to provide you with that information. Do you guys have any questions?
Thank you, Mrs. Hassan. Can you please a little bit elaborate regarding who takes WIDA testing from
Yep.
our students?
So who takes the WIDA testing are basically in the beginning of the school year, we have a home language survey. And when you fill it out, if you put a language other than English, we screen them for WIDA. And so they're considered like ESL, EL, English language learners. If they perform great, then they're not enrolled in the program. But if they do, then they will be taking the test. So not all students will be taking this assessment. Okay.
Thank you so much. And I also want to emphasize on this that our students are pretty smart and they can do wonders, but sometimes they chose not to show their proper skills. So they have to take these assessments seriously and they have to do their best in performing during these assessments, because otherwise every year they will be in that list and they have to keep taking WIDA. A lot of our high school students keep on asking the same question. So please, please, parents and guardians, talk to your students and let them know how important it is to do their best and go through these assessments seriously so that they can be exiting from the program soon.
Yep, and also just to emphasize, just remind them to use complete sentences, use punctuation, capitalization. These are some things that obviously is part of the system. So just take it seriously, and then if they have any questions, they're more than welcome to ask me, and I can support them out, with test taking skills if they have anxiety or anything like that. Okay. Any questions?
While we are waiting for questions, a couple of reminders. Enrollment is open for all new students. Please make sure you follow up on that. We sent home the re-enrollment survey. Parents and students have received the email. Please make sure you complete the survey, send it back to us so that we can secure your position for next school year in our school. Also, we will be having a couple of other presentations regarding the upcoming assessments. As we already mentioned, like M-STEP is coming up, PSAT, SAT, NWE assessments. So periodically we will have these presentations for the parents and families so that you are aware of what's coming up. Please make sure you go through the weekly updates that I send out through Remind every week so that you are aware of what's coming up every week. And this presentation, I will also include PowerPoint and the WIDA schedule in my Remind message to all parents and students. Thank you, Ms. Hassan. If there are no more questions, I think we should be all good.
HES Academies have been serving the Detroit metro area for over 23 years, promoting academic excellence, leadership, and cultural diversity, ranking as some of the top schools in the state of Michigan. Our pre-K through 12th grade students enjoy tuition-free, state-accredited education by STEM-certified and highly qualified staff with no geographical restrictions, and with advanced placement, college dual enrollment, scholarship, and Arabic language programs. Noor International Academy in Sterling Heights at niapsa.org, Star International Academy in Dearborn Heights and in Canton at starpsa.org, Universal Academy in Detroit at universalpsa.org, and Universal Learning Academy in Westland at ulapsa.org. Join HES Academies today and enjoy a free Chromebook for every enrolled student.
All right, thank you, Ms. Anjum. Thank you, Mr. Hassan. And with that, we come to an end for our
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Sorry, my Arabic is really bad. I'm like, oh no.
You're doing great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. And stay tuned for more family engagement broadcasts coming up. And enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you.